Hey, this is Justin with Day Trade the Markets on Friday, July 27th, and I thought I would take a kind of do a replay of the ES for today and kind of go through the thought processes that we look for and some pretty interesting trade ideas from today. Just kind of go through, I guess you could say, a day in the life, so to speak. I did one of these the other day on crude, and people really seemed to like that, so I thought I'd do one for the ES. Now, the first thing that we do every day is we look at what we call our daily market assistant. You just look in our member center and click on that, and it's telling us a few key things, and I'll go through this quickly, so don't worry if it doesn't make total sense. But the first thing we want to look at is what we call our bigger picture bias. So that's kind of a path of least resistance over the past few days to few weeks, and heading into today, that it was up. But obviously things can change during a day, so we always have a scenario in which that would change. So if the market spent 45 minutes below 1324 quarter during the day, our bias would switch to down. Our bigger picture bias would switch to down. Now we gapped up, so that wasn't looking likely. Now in terms of some of the key levels to look for, we have more detailed video below, but these are some of the key levels that we want to look for. So that's just kind of the starting point each day. Either do it at the night before or the morning. And so, you know, heading into the day, what I recommend doing is just kind of writing on your chart a few things. You know, today, you didn't have to be, it was pretty clear what it was, but you know, it's a good habit to get into. And then I like to draw horizontal lines to some of those key levels. So I mean, we were looking at the 57 level, the 61 level, also the 66 level up in here. And you know, beyond that, we hadn't tested up this high for quite a while, so it was kind of you know, if we get above 66, just, you know, look out above. There's no real resistance to be expected. So I'll just let the software go now, just kind of run it in a little bit of fast speed and pause it when there's kind of a key structure that we need to look at. But again, you know, we open up and we gapped up pretty high, so bigger picture bias is up. So we're looking for ways to get long. So heading into this, you're probably thinking, okay, if I can find a reason to get long around this 61 level, or if we can get above the 66 level, I'd be looking to get long around that area as well. Just kind of heading into the day, that's what you're thinking. So we'll just let it run here. Obviously, you know, this was a Friday in the summer. It wasn't really too active for most of the session, but still had some pretty good opportunities. Okay, so now we're testing down in the 61 area. Level 1 bar, don't pay much attention to that. That's just a little bit of information, nothing major. Now we have a deceleration around the 61 area with a bigger picture up bias, and then here's a level 1 buying bar. Bigger picture up bias, pretty good area of support, deceleration, not a bad entry for a kind of a bigger picture idea to get long, certainly. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of what you'd be looking for in this area there. So some more level 1 bars, but again, bigger picture, just, you know, bigger picture up bias, support level. It's kind of what we call a position day trade, where it's a pretty good location to be looking to get into a trade. So now we're heading up into the 66 area, and if you were long from the 61 area, you'd, you know, consider getting out of your position or scaling out, certainly. So again, no major structures to this point. Pretty quiet, and that's how it was this morning. It was a pretty quiet trading day. The main opportunity to this point, again, was just this position day trade idea where, you know, we've got some buying coming in. You can see the decelerations in the level 1 bars. Got some buying in coming in around the 61, which we knew to be a likely area of support in a bigger picture up auction. So pretty good, you know, just a logical place to get on board. And again, if you're looking for some evidence, you've got it with these deceleration bars here. So now we're above the 66 level here. So again, same idea, kind of getting long in here. Now this is our first major structure, but I want to say something. It looks like it's a discrepancy in the replay data in real time. It wasn't like that. It was a level 1 selling bar, so I'm not going to really pay much attention to that because it's skewed just due to the replay data feed slightly different, and that can happen occasionally. But in real time today, it was a level 1 selling bar. So we'll just pretend that's what it was. So again, we're kind of back below the 66 level and just kind of grinding around Friday morning. I'll speed this up a little bit. Sorry about that. If you heard, that was my little girl. We had a little minor tornado come through on Tuesday. We actually lost 15 trees on our property, believe it or not. And looks like there's another storm coming, so she's a little bit freaked out. So I apologize about that. I'm going to try to rush through this, or get through this video as quickly as possible and go be with them before the storm comes. But anyway, so we're back at it here. We've tested into the 66 level. So far it's held. No major structures to this point in the day. Again, knowing that this bar here in real time wasn't actually a level 2. So at this point we're just kind of looking bigger picture between the 61 area, the 66 level, see what happens around the 66, but our bigger picture bias is up, and we're looking really for ways to get long if we can see some structure. Now we're back above 66, but still no major structure in the day. The day's just kind of been grinding along. Okay, now here is our first piece of major structure. So I've paused it there. This is what we call a level 3 buying aggression bar, and that's telling us there's some extreme buying aggression coming into the market. Very bullish indication. And at this point, again, we have a bigger picture up bias. We've just broken through the 66 level. We have a few options. We have a kind of a trade idea, and the whole key with what we do is it's not about taking mechanical trade setups. It's about being able to put the market in context first and then look for ways that we know have pretty high edge to get us into trades. And so there's a few options here in this case when you have a level 3 buying bar making a new high in a pretty strong up auction. The first is what we call our pure breakout trade, where as soon as that level 3 bar comes in, you just buy it. You just take it on a breakout. And that certainly would make sense here because, again, there's no resistance overhead. We knew 66 was kind of the line in the sand. There's no resistance overhead, and certainly our bigger picture bias is up. So it makes a lot of sense to just take the breakout trade. There are other options as well. I love trading off of level 3 bars. The first one is what we call our level 3 retracement trade, where our first expectation whenever we get a level 3 bar, a buying bar in this case, is that the low should act as pretty good support. So if you didn't take the breakout trade, you're a little more conservative. The first thing you're probably looking to do is probably put an entry, a limit order to buy either at the low of the bar or a tick or two above the low of the bar, knowing that's a pretty high percentage chance that there's going to be support there. So that's the first thing we're thinking of at this time, if you didn't buy the breakout, which actually makes good sense to do in this market. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So let's move it along here. Again, at this point, either you're in long with a breakout or you're thinking of getting long toward the low of that bar, ideally. Now, there is another option that you can see here that we call our level 3 continuation trade. So again, if buying at the low of the bar is the retracement trade for the level 3, the other thing you can do is if the market basically doesn't even test toward the low and just has immediate follow through above this level 3 bar, in fact get a full bar or two above, then it's a little bit more of an aggressive trade, but it's still a pretty high percentage trade. It's called our level 3 continuation trade, where you're looking to put a limit order to buy either at the high of that bar or maybe a tick above the high of that bar. Okay, so maybe around this 69.50 area, 69.25 area. Okay. In fact, let me just draw a line right in there just to show you. So, a couple ideas that we were, at this point, you may have given up on the retracement trade. You may have, well, first of all, you may have taken the breakout trade. If not, you probably put an entry in toward the low of this bar for the retracement trade off of this level 3, again, with the context of the up market. And at this point, when we have immediate follow through, full bar above, you might be looking to put a limit order around the high of that bar for what we call the continuation trade. Okay, so let's just move it along here. Okay, so now we've tested into the high of this level 3 bar. You're long if you wanted to get in with that level 3 continuation trade, which is a pretty high percentage trade in this situation, obviously, because again, we're in a bigger picture up auction, filters green, we're above 66, you know, all signs point to go. Now we get a resistance zone in here, but again, the context, you're certainly not going to want to get short. What you would be thinking about at this point is, do I get out of my trade or do I see what happens? That's kind of a personal preference. If you tend to like to lock in profits, you probably get out at the resistance zone. But with the context of the market, certainly would make sense to try to hold this trade as long as possible as well. Let me just scoot this along a bit. But again, the high of that level 3 bar, we're kind of just oscillating here between the resistance zone and the high of that level 3 bar. And hopefully that makes sense. Okay, now in this case, let me move the chart back down. In this case, we now broke higher. We did that on a level 2 buying bar. Certainly you can still use the same breakout concept. It's certainly not as powerful with the level 2 bar, but what you've seen is that this resistance zone here has now turned to a support zone. Again, green filter, bigger picture up bias. So the most likely, or kind of what we call the confluence trade, is just to look to be getting long somewhere around this green zone, maybe a tick or two above it, but that's kind of the thought process at this point, certainly. Okay? And we also know that the low of this level 2 bar should act as pretty good support as well. So, getting long in this area, pretty high percentage trade because, again, of all the evidence and factors we have going for us. Support zone, filter, bigger picture bias. We're above the bigger picture resistance. Kind of all systems go at that point. Just plodding along here, but still makes sense. Okay, now here is some more major structure. And this is basically the same scenario that we saw earlier. Now there is some kind of an issue here with this replay data, but basically what happened, if you look at this here, is that we had a level 3 buying bar followed by another level 3 buying bar and a high velocity move in there as well. So I just wanted to show you that you can get the point here. I think with this, but the key point here is that we had another scenario similar to what we had before, where you have a big picture up market. We're above there's no resistance overhead. We have a level 3 bar on the high of the day. Kind of that perfect breakout trade. And again, if you don't want to take the breakout trade, your first thought is try to get in toward the low, and if we have immediate follow through, then you're looking to potentially get in at the high. But again, we're breaking out with a level 3 bar. It's not a bad spot to just jump on board with a market order. So sorry about the replay data here, but I just wanted to I think you can still get the feel for what I'm talking about. So, for some reason this data is just not working out, but let me just bring over the chart that we actually had toward the end of the day, and you can get the feel. Again, same idea where you've got this these level 3 bars here, possible breakout trade, confirm with the next bar, which is also a level 3. The idea about getting in with the continuation trade certainly made some sense in here. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know what's going on with the data. I apologize, but that the market just went and tested toward the high of the day at the end of the day. The key points I wanted to make on this chart anyway were that the bias was up. We had some nice opportunities for the breakout trade here. All systems go. Or you can wait for this, what we call continuation trade on some of these as well. So, just putting things in context in terms of bigger picture up bias. We're through any potential resistance zones. You're looking for ways to get long, and this software, at least in our belief, is certainly going to help you visually see some good spots to do that. So I apologize about the glitch in the replay data there, but hopefully you get the picture of the point I'm trying to make. So let me know if you have any thoughts about that, any questions. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have, and otherwise have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you soon.